to speak to the council on any item under our jurisdiction, other than notice public hearings, of which there are none tonight. So now's the time to address the council. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eric Sinclair, and I'm going to talk about just last week. I came across a company in Visalia, and I started talking to them about employment connection, and about bringing an employment connection here in Lindsay. There's no employment connection, and on top of that, they're looking at a 3-year projection on bringing in the employment connection. So within a 3-year period, they'll be coming into Lindsay. And on top of that, when they come in, I want to be able to say to each and every business owner here in Lindsay, California, that your business, your company is safe in our hands. And another thing, I was listening to a few people and their feelings about the Hermosa roundabout, and the safety concerns from citizens here in Lindsay, and those safety concerns are from parents about the roundabout. You know, I mean, you know, we get these insights from people that are out of town, but nothing compares to that of the insights of the citizens here in Lindsay, California. And those, we have to listen to those insights before we listen to any outsiders' insights. And another thing was the golf course. Why would that be a conversation to close it down? Why? It makes no sense. You said $40,000. You know, that's, you know, I asked the manager if he needed help from me, and he said no. Then a while later, it's being discussed, being closed down. The Lindsay Golf Course has been here for this whole city, and I'm still going to be working on it. Thank you.
Mayor Kimball, I have a question. You said there's no public hearings this evening. The agenda item for the roundabout says it's a continued public hearing. Would you prefer to have comments on that now?
We want the comments on that now.
That's,
yes.
well, there'll be no opportunity to speak on it at that time?
Correct.
Okay, my name is Trudy Wisherman, and I'd like to recommend that you not approve the mitigated declaration prepared for this project. This is about the Hermosa Westwood roundabout. This document, the mitigated deck, does not adequately address the significant potential impacts of this project, which I and others have raised. It does not adequately address the concerns expressed by members of the general public or the most important stakeholders, who are the neighbors and parents and grandparents of the Lincoln School students. The project itself, as proposed, does not answer the need for safer crossing of school children and other pedestrians. Potentially, it will not even solve the future traffic congestion at that intersection as the housing units being built by self-help become occupied. It has great potential to make the school-related traffic much worse, a problem which is still under study. I hope it is, since we have no input on that investigation either. And perhaps just as bad, the proposed roundabout is an expensive, wasteful use of public funds, which some would call a boondoggle. I propose that you send this document back to staff with the requirement that real public involvement be sought and incorporated into the potential solution. There needs to be some real hearing by the staff who largely do not live here, some real listening to the people who do live here, raise their families here, spend their money here, and call this place home. There also needs to be some real observation and analysis of what's going on. The Omni study is not a good analysis of that problem. And so I think we really need some better, this isn't a good document, and we need a better one. Thank you.
Anyone else here that wishes to address the council? Seeing no one, we will close public comment and move on to our next item, which is council reports. Council members, anything to report tonight?
Nothing interesting.
Well, I just want to announce that the Lindsay Unified School District Middle School counselors are hosting the 4th annual Middle School College and Career Expo for our learners. That will take place on Thursday, March 22nd from 8:30 to 2:30 at McDermott. And we're always looking for professionals or organizations, anybody interested in coming to set up a booth and talk to our middle school learners about opportunities or about their experience in different jobs. We like to expose the learners at an early age so that they can begin preparing now, and noticing that it is important that they begin to prepare now so that they're ready in high school and beyond then. So if anybody's interested, I have more information, and I invite all of you guys to come visit us that day. We host approximately 400 to 500 learners on that day and expose them to all this great information. That's it.
I wanted to just announce that a special exhibit is coming to the Lindsay Museum and Gallery. The museum has a collection of old photographic plates and negatives from renowned photographer Herschel Hammond, who worked in the Lindsay area. And through a grant from Bank of Sierra and some other donations, it's also been digitized, restored and digitized, and are now being printed and framed. And there's some really cool old photographs, like from the Orange Blossom Festivals from the past and so forth. It covers the time period of like 1915 through 1950 in the local area. And it will be on display beginning March 3rd. March 3rd from 4 to 7 in the afternoon will be an opening reception. We hope everybody can come. With that, we'll move to staff report. No, our student reports.
Hi. So tomorrow we are having our annual blood drive from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the LHS gym. Anyone is welcome, members of the community, staff, alumni, anyone. If you would like to donate, please let me know so I can give you Ms. Gonzalez, the one that's running it, email, so you can make an appointment with her between that time. The COS is coming down on February 22nd for the COS placement test for all seniors. The Lindsay Drama Club are having their annual play called The Evening of One Act. It will be in Lindsay Theater on Friday at 7:30, Saturday at 7:30 again, and Sunday at 2:00 p.m. $5 for adults, $3 for all you students with school ID card, and again, anyone's welcome. Hope everyone enjoys it. I will personally be there because I'm the drama assistant. So hope to see some of you guys there. Boys and girls soccer have entered playoffs, and we are sending both girls and boys wrestlers to the section championships this week.
Thank you. Staff report, Bill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've administratively approved Angel Garden's request to sell flowers this past weekend at Jess Automotive. For our bricks and mortar flower businesses, they have about 2 times per year, 3 if you include graduations, where they have to make the lion's share of their revenues. And the owner simply missed the deadline to get it into council. She's been doing this for years. We've never had an issue. So I administratively approved that. And also encouraged Ms. Gutierrez to submit. She really has her 2 time slots that she does her temporary use permit for, to maybe January or early February. Just do them both at one time, and it can cover her throughout the year, maybe even save her a little bit of money so that we don't run into this in the future. So she was very appreciative and wanted to convey that to council. El Quinto Sol will be doing a women's wellness conference on March 11th at the Wellness Center. They're going to have a lot of activities happening out there, and all are encouraged to come. Ono City, Sister City, will be doing a fundraising dinner at the Wellness Center on April 7th. That's the opening of the OVF, the coronation and so forth. And for each of these organizations, only staff time will be charged to each of these non- or not-for-profits, as has been the city's tradition with them. We haven't had issues. And so the more sweat equity they can put into it, the less we have to charge, and it helps our nonprofits keep moving forward and doing good things in the community. And it's worked well for us thus far. Staff would like to review the sports field, sports courts memorandum of understanding with you at the next council meeting. We have that with the school district. There seems to be some confusion about what's happening out there. As our new wellness aquatic rec supervisor's been out dealing with different sports program leaders, talking about the fees that need to be charged. It's a good time to visit this with council and see how you guys want to manage this. And I don't know that you've really had a chance to look through that MOU with the school district before, so I want to bring that forward and talk with you about it a little bit. Also, I'm going to restructure Coffee in the Park with the manager. We'll instead go to different locations around town, such as Starbucks, Senior Center, Lindsay Waffle, and other venues as appropriate. We'll announce when we return to the park, but we want to mix it up a little bit. The primary objective there was to get people who maybe didn't want to come to City Hall to meet with me and share their ideas or concerns or so forth. We've had some success with that, but it's just time to shake it up a little bit and see if we can't reach different audiences to maybe go to those places. Staff will continue doing roundabout presentations in English and in Spanish. I've done 4 presentations beyond council meetings thus far, and collected comments, questions, and concerns. We'll continue doing this. I've got about 3 more set up to go, and we'll do it up until the time should council approve this through construction and beyond if necessary. We're hearing that there's a need for education. We're hearing there's a need for signage. There's a need for information. We intend to address all of those things. I have many quite lengthy staff report tonight. Good things happening in Mike's world. They met with Provost and Pritchard to discuss the DVP issue. They have some solutions there. He's submitted delivery projections to the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation regarding our surface water supply. The projections requested were a 35 and 75% projection. That's 875 and 1875 respective acre feet out of our allocated 2,500 acre feet. Seeing what's happening with weather right now, it's likely to come out on the lower end of that. And so Mike's working with the Bureau to see how the surface flows are going to work for us. We've got doing research with Prop 218s related to water, sewer, and refuse. We've engaged California Rural Water Association for technical assistance. We've had some work done on this previously. We're going to get some estimates on what it takes to move this along. And again, lots and lots of detail here. Lots of good detail from Wellness Aquatic. And so what I've done is I've sent an email with this detail to each of you, and you can review that. And then if you have questions or concerns, you can reach out to me, and I'd be happy to address those with you. I did want to mention that it's on the paper. Our local Peeping Tom from 2016 was found guilty on Friday on 1 count of indecent exposure and 1 count of lewd acts in public. Unfortunately, both charges are misdemeanors, considering what's happening in Sacramento. But I wanted to extend a well done to our investigative team who worked around the clock to positively identify and arrest this guy. I know we had one person that went 48 hours straight without sleep because he was so passionate about getting this person picked up, arrested, and hauled away. So I applaud our public safety for their efforts in that. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you, Bill. Next item is our consent calendar. These items will be considered as one motion unless separate is discussion on any item is desired by Councilor Woodward.
I'm just gonna say, I just noticed some typos and names, I don't know if that matters or not. Like at the beginning, did you see that? So like Gina, J, it's with a J, but should be
On the minute,
G, yeah. Just typos on the name Gina, Janet, and I think the last name Mata too.
noted by the clerk.
Move for approval.
By Cortez.
Changes.
Seconded by Watson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, carries. Next item 5, resolution 1801, continued public hearing. Resolution 1801, California Environmental Quality Act documents for proposed Toronto Street intersection improvement project. Roundabout. Presented by Brian Spahner.
And I'd like to open that up, Madam Mayor, with your permission. Chief Hughes, would you dim one of the lights, please? And Maria, would you start my power plant? So first off, we want to acknowledge our partners in this, TCAG with Measure Our Bike and Pet Money, Self-Help Enterprise, certainly none of this would be possible without them, and Omni Means, who's been the engineering firm that has been putting this together for us. Next slide. So what's going on? Well, we've got about a 70-foot section of asphalt that runs between Jefferson School and the multi-family units to the south. We have many disadvantaged children that live down there, and more on the way. We look at this and, why are we taking a look at this? Next slide, please. Click it again. We're doing this because of children. Back in 2006, the superintendent reached out to the city saying we have a real problem getting children across this busy intersection. We're concerned for their safety, and we'd like to take a look at what can be done. Next slide. In response to this, the city reached out to the local government commission and brought 2 nationally recognized experts in safe routes to school, in traffic calming, in walkable communities, Paul Zajkowski and Dan Burden, to come and assess the situation. They showed up and they watched children being removed from moving cars on Westwood as they were moving northbound and southbound. They watched the chaos that was there. And they fairly quickly said, you need a roundabout to address this. Staff wasn't convinced of this, and council wasn't real involved yet at this point. But they spent the better part of a week educating us on roundabouts, where they had done them previously, how well they had worked, and they convinced us that it could be the solution. They continued, Paul in particular, continued to do training at the district offices, talking about things like walking school buses and different ways in which you could make kids safer getting from home to school and back. Next slide, please. And so since 2006, staff has been looking at a way to make this safer with the roundabout. And as Self-Help had moved forward, wanting to put their project in on the old Ray Moore site, we identified with them the concern with getting kids safely across the street. And they chased some federal grant money, in particular transportation-related greenhouse gas reducing money, and were awarded a grant to build this very thing that will reduce greenhouse gases and enhance safety both for vehicles and for pedestrians. And why does it work? You have shorter pedestrian crossings. Instead of 70 feet to go across in one path, you have 2 sections of about 14 feet each that they would cross. You have vehicles being forced to deflect their direction, which is traffic calming and will slow them down. You have pedestrian refuge areas, they call them splitter islands, in the center, in which people can stand if necessary if they can't safely get all the way across the intersection. They are bicycle friendly, they are pedestrian friendly, they are large vehicle friendly with truck aprons, etc. This is a conceptual drawing. It's not what's going to be built, but it's what was brought out first as we did our initial meeting with the stakeholders, the parents at Jefferson School when we started this talk. Next slide, please. Do you have audio going there, Maria? I want to share the video with you from the Federal Highway Transportation Administration regarding roundabouts. Thank you. Go ahead and start it. It's an 11-minute video.
Did you know that more than 20 people are killed and many more are seriously injured in crashes at intersections every day in the United States? Did you know that most of these deaths and injuries are due to right-angle crashes that occur at signalized and stop-controlled intersections? How much time do you spend stopped at a red light waiting for the light to change when there is no traffic on the cross street? Did you know there is an intersection alternative that is substantially safer than signalized and stop-controlled intersections and much more efficient? The U.S. DOT's Federal Highway Administration, FHWA, has identified modern roundabout intersections as one of 9 proven life-saving roadway safety strategies. Modern roundabouts are not only safer than traditional signalized and stop-controlled intersections, where appropriate and properly designed, roundabouts operate more efficiently, often have lower life cycle costs, and result in increased fuel efficiency. So, what is a roundabout? A roundabout is a circular intersection. Traffic flows counterclockwise around a center island. Entering traffic yields to circulating traffic in the roundabout. Channelized approaches using splitter islands deflect traffic as it enters the intersection, slowing speeds. While the vast majority of roundabouts are single lane, 1/4 of the roundabouts in the U.S. have 2 lanes, which also provides safety benefits. Roundabouts with up to 3 lanes have been successfully built. Many roundabouts can be used in low-speed urban environments in lieu of a stop sign or traffic signal. Roundabouts are different from other types of circular intersections that you might have seen. They are not rotaries or the older traffic circles, which are still common in the northeastern United States, which typically have higher speeds and approaches and usually higher speeds within the circle. They may use stop or signal control, or they may require circulating traffic to yield to entering traffic. A roundabout is also not the same thing as a neighborhood traffic circle, typically used on local streets for speed control. Roundabouts have several distinguishing characteristics and benefits, setting them apart from other intersection types. Traffic can move freely through roundabouts. This makes them more efficient than signalized or stop-controlled intersections. Unlike other types of intersections, roundabouts are designed to slow the speed of vehicles entering by deflecting them from a straight-line path into the roundabout. Drivers approaching the roundabout have time to judge for gaps in the circulating traffic and either yield or adjust their speed before entering the intersection. This allows for safer entries into circulating traffic. In addition to channelized approaches, signs and pavement markings on the roadway guide drivers to make sure they take the proper entry path. Roundabout intersections can require additional space compared to a traditional intersection, but they may be constructed within the existing right-of-way. Roundabouts eliminate dangerous left turns across opposing traffic lanes and virtually eliminate high-speed right-angle and head-on crashes. While initial construction costs can be higher with roundabouts, they often have lower operating and maintenance costs than signalized intersections. They can have ongoing costs for lighting and maintaining the landscaping, but unlike a signalized intersection, there is no signal equipment to install, power, and maintain. Roundabouts have longer service lives than traditional intersections, resulting in better economic value over the long term, especially when you factor in the reduction of fatal and injury crashes. Roundabouts are also the greenest intersection alternative, and not only because of their aesthetic appeal. Reduced vehicle idling means fewer emissions and less wasted fuel. Less acceleration and fewer sudden hard stops means quieter, more peaceful transportation through communities. Landscaping in the central island, splitter islands, and along the approaches can further benefit and enhance community livability. With all of these benefits, why aren't all transportation agencies building modern roundabout intersections? One of the biggest reasons transportation agencies overlook this proven intersection safety solution is out of concern that the public just won't accept them. trying one roundabout is usually all it takes to convince even the biggest skeptic of their benefits.
In the 12 years the department has been building roundabouts, we've had our share of skeptics. But what we found is after the roundabout is built, the skeptics become supportive of the idea, which is attributed to the time savings and the safety benefits that a roundabout offers.
Some states now have roundabout policies that state that roundabouts should be considered as an intersection alternative. Numerous states like Washington and cities across the country like Carmel, Indiana, have embraced roundabouts and support their development. Washington State now has more than 150 roundabouts, and the city of Carmel, Indiana alone has more than 50 roundabouts, with many more planned.
We were one of the first communities in the Midwest to build roundabouts and make the determination that they work better than stoplights in many, many cases.
A common concern for people that have not experienced driving through a properly designed roundabout is that they won't be able to get used to the new traffic pattern. But studies consistently show just the opposite. The public overwhelmingly supports roundabouts after they are constructed. Older Americans in particular are supportive of roundabouts.
By 2025, a quarter of all drivers in the United States will be over the age of 65. Intersections are the single most dangerous traffic environment for drivers of any age, with left-hand turns being the single most dangerous traffic maneuver that any of us can make. 40% of all crashes that involve drivers over the age of 65 occur at intersections. This is nearly twice the rate of experienced younger drivers. AARP would like to see more roundabouts constructed because of the many safety benefits that they present for drivers of all ages.
As with all new traffic treatments, thorough public education, effective signing, and pavement markings are key to educating all drivers on new traffic patterns. So, are roundabouts safe for other road users? In general, pedestrians face far less risk at roundabouts than traditional intersections, primarily because of the slower speeds and the elimination of turns across the pedestrian crosswalks. Splitter islands both shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians and allow them to cross one direction of traffic at a time. All of this adds up to increased safety. There is ongoing research to determine the most effective strategies for making roundabouts accessible for visually impaired pedestrians. The U.S. Access Board has been active in the development of design guidelines for roundabouts. The National Cooperative Highway Research Program, NCHRP, is also researching a range of geometric designs, traffic control devices, and other treatments to make roundabouts more accessible to pedestrians with vision impairments. Bicyclists can dismount and use the pedestrian crosswalk, or experienced bicyclists can ride through the roundabout. What about trucks and other large vehicles? Are they able to navigate through roundabouts? Roundabouts can be built to accommodate the turning radii of large trucks and trailers, just like any other intersection. Roundabouts generally have truck aprons, a slightly raised area around the inner circle that provide trucks, buses, and other large vehicles additional room to navigate the roundabout. So what do emergency service providers think about roundabouts? Emergency service providers are able to navigate through roundabouts with their largest vehicles. In emergency situations, roundabouts can be safer and more efficient for an emergency vehicle than traditional intersections. Roundabouts can work very well on a wide range of road types, including freeway interchanges, urban and suburban corridors, and high-speed rural roadways. Some people think they can't be constructed on state roads, but that's just not true. There are numerous examples of successful roundabouts built on state roads, and the number is growing rapidly. The importance of proper design cannot be overstated. Good design is critical to the success of a roundabout. Other keys to success include public involvement and stakeholder support. FHWA offers numerous resources, including a one-day informational workshop for state and local transportation agencies. To learn more, Visit the FHWA safety website.
Well-designed roundabout intersections have been proven to not only help traffic move more efficiently, but also reduce the risk of fatal and serious crashes. This is why the Federal Highway Administration is strongly encouraging state and local leaders to take a hard look at roundabouts as an alternative to conventional intersection designs. If you're looking for ways to reduce congestion, improve safety, and enhance your community's environment, modern roundabouts may be just the solution for you.
Next slide, please. So just to recap, and it's important to note, annual intersection-related accidents, more than 7,000 people are killed annually at intersections, whether they be traffic light control or stop sign control. Nearly 1 million are injured in these accidents. More than 20 deaths per day in the U.S. are occurring, most related to right-angle crashes at stop light sign intersections. And roundabouts are endorsed by the Federal Highway Administration. Next slide, please. Roundabouts reduce fatalities by 90%. Think about that. Reduce fatalities by 90%. Reduce injuries by 76% and accidents by 35%. Next slide, please. Roundabouts also offer more efficiently, have lowered life cycle costs, increased fuel efficiency, and endorsed by the AARP. If you heard that, but people over the age of 65, 40% of their accidents occur at intersections, especially doing the left-hand turns and intersections. And so the AARP does endorse roundabouts. So before we move to the next slide, I wanted to let you know we have been doing outreach work. I have flyers, some of which are in the back of the room. We have activity guides for children, for elementary school children, and we have teacher guides for teachers. We're working on creating a complete Spanish language presentation similar to what you've seen here. And we have a fun little video that's just 30 seconds long that we're going to show you next. And the kids at Jefferson seem to enjoy it. Next slide, please.
Do the roundabout dance, watch your finger to say I'm crossing here, I'm walking this way. In the roundabout dance, watch the traffic flow, cause you decide when to step out and go. In the roundabout dance, in the roundabout dance. Keep watching those drivers, are they watching too? In the slow stop, there'll be time for you. In the roundabout dance, in the roundabout dance.
Lights please, Chief. And so we have those things happening there. The kids seem to enjoy it. We're going to keep working on outreach, keep talking with folks about it, and we're pretty excited about the opportunity to make it safer for both our drivers and for our children. And I'd be happy to entertain questions, comments, or concerns that council might have at this time.
I just want to say I really like the new signs that are up there that are so visible and clear. You know exactly what to do. And personally, I've learned so much from all these presentations. I wasn't comfortable driving through the roundabouts, and now I feel like a pro. Like I know what way to look, because I was looking the wrong way. Instead of giving the right of way to the left like it should be, I was doing the right, so I wasn't doing it right. And now I feel confident in driving through any roundabout. So I just want to say that I appreciate all the information that has been put out.
Those signs were put up in response to comments that we received during the presentations that we've been doing with the community. We recognize that is a concern for people, and we're going to keep doing it where we can to provide positive responses for comments that are received.
Yeah, I think it's really valuable that we've learned that lesson and we're able to address the education piece.
And I neglected to mention in the video, as you saw the kids walking around and playing, one of the things that I really like about this is that it's got kids establishing eye contact with drivers. And as I mentioned to the group at Healthy Kids, Healthy Lindsay, I was a Midwestern boy, and we didn't have right-of-way. Pedestrians didn't have right-of-way where I grew up. And so we were always taught to make sure cars saw us before we stepped out into a crosswalk. That's not the case in California, and we've had kids get hurt here in this community just trying to get to school at a different location. So if through this video and the education that we're going to do, we can have adults and children start looking at cars to ensure that they're being seen before they step out into an intersection, that alone is going to save a life. And I'm really excited about this opportunity.
Bill.
And then Brian has the remainder of your presentation related to the secret document.
Right.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Tonight I'll be going over just some updates of the public comments on letters and documents we've received, just so we can make sure we don't the level currently at this project. Just a little bit of housekeeping to review the summary of the project. This request is to review and approve the CEQA documents for the project and not the actual design of it. We'll be taking the design on a later date so we can address any concerns there as well. This is a discretionary request, and council may approve it, approve with modifications, direct staff to provide additional information, or deny the request. We also want to review the purpose and need of this project is to increase pedestrian safety, reduce vehicle speed, and reduce vehicle emissions. Some solutions that we've considered in this process are to do nothing, that's called a no-build alternative, to construct a stop sign intersection, construct a stop light intersection, and construct a roundabout. And the comments we'll be reviewing tonight are pertaining to the Wellness Center informational meeting on January 4th, the public hearing, council meeting letters, documents, and comments on January 9th, as well as public comments and documents received on the January 23rd meeting. Starting with the Wellness Center public comments, the first comment is regarding a traffic accident near Sundale Elementary, which resulted in a fatality. The question was regarding, or the comment was regarding how the county responded with a four-way stop sign intersection, as well as that not appropriate here. The situation regarding that accident was a T-bone accident, and the county needed something to respond with quickly, and the stop sign was the quickest solution for them to apply that situation. The next comment is pertaining to the roundabout cost of an estimated $1.4 million versus a four-way stop, which was the comment referred to as a $300,000 estimate. When working with staff, we've identified a recent Porterville Putnam Avenue / B Street signalized project, and that was a price tag of $600,000. So a little bit of a difference there in the estimate between what the comment referred to and what we estimate. And then regarding the $1.4 million, this is not city funding. This is all a series of grants and other Measure R funding combined for this project. The next comment is existing roundabout allows for direction change. Staff agrees with this. It allows the drivers to go ahead and change directions without having to do a U-turn on Hermosa near the shopping center. And so this greatly increases vehicle safety. The next comment refers to existing roundabout and how it reduces pedestrian accidents. Staff agrees with that comment. People don't use crosswalks at the existing roundabout. As Bill mentioned, we are pursuing educational materials, and we have bumped up our signage at the existing roundabout so in hopes of beefing up some pedestrian safety there. This intersection, the proposed intersection, is not ideal for IIHS. And staff believes this roundabout is more ideal than the alternatives of the stop sign or stop light intersection. The current roundabout does not require drivers to stop. Staff agrees it allows traffic and pedestrians to flow constantly. People don't understand how to use roundabouts. Again, educational materials and signage are being pursued. The roundabout does not promote circulation. Omni means shows an acceptable level of service will be achieved through the year 2040. The next comment is in regards to cost versus safety. The proposed roundabout minimizes cost to the city and maximizes safety for both pedestrians and drivers. And less lanes leads to blocking of circulation. Again, Omni means which shows a level of service that will be acceptable to the year 2040. The next comment is in reference to the idea of a buffer zone to slow down drivers, some lights at the crosswalk, basically some safety measures, and those are all going to be integrated into the design of the project. And the last comment from the Wellness Center informational meeting is pertaining to grant money is theft. This project will receive a series of checks and balances and is subject to the auditing process. So we're going to make sure that money's used the right way and used responsibly. What is the safest method? The proposed roundabout. Will the roundabout have pedestrians lights? Yes, crosswalk lights will be integrated into the design. Why now? Just because the funding opportunities have now become available. What are the cons? Environmentally, none. Staff is addressing the educational or lack of educational for driver's side, and we're addressing those now. And how will learners cross? This is being discussed with the school district, and we'll come up with a solution that's appropriate. Basically, we're going to see is it even needed, and if it is, what's the best solution there. Will there be crossing guards? Again, that's going to be in that discussion of whether or not we even block the intersection. What is the reduction of asphalt? The proposed reduction is 38 feet or 68%. Why not a four-way stop sign or signal? They both fail to meet the purpose and need. Why don't they meet the purpose and need? They both increase vehicle emissions and decrease pedestrian safety. And why doesn't Exeter have a roundabout at their school? Lindsay has no jurisdiction over Exeter. Moving on to the public hearing at City Council meeting. First comment, project will support needs and safety of adjacent families. Staff agrees. The roundabout is the only option that makes sense. Staff agrees. Difficult to understand how to use a roundabout. Going back to, again, the educational materials and signage are being utilized. The elderly will have difficulty using the roundabouts. In addition to the educational materials and signage, the roundabouts are also endorsed by AARP. People want to be a bigger part of the solution. Staff encourages the public to participate with either the City of Lindsay, the school district, both. We always have an open door if you're willing to work with the public to address any potential concerns. A property owner cited that home had issues accessing their home. They was pursuing a solution with the school district and the owner. A grant can only be applied to emission reducing projects. Staff agrees for this project. The city manager submitted a roundabout safety documents. We asked that you please refer to Appendix G of this document. And the finance director provided safe crossing guard example. Staff agrees with that example. And if they're unsure if crossing guards will be effective, and again, that is also being discussed with the again, I'm sure if the roundabout will work for the elderly, referring back to the endorsement. The councilman believes roundabouts save lives. Staff agrees as well. The councilman submits Federal Highway Administration documents. Please see Appendix G. As to reference those documents. And the Mayor Pro Tem supports the single lane roundabout. Staff agrees as well. Moving on to the letters and documents. In this case, they were looked at individually just because of the nature of the documents and letters and the length of them. And we're going to jump into the first letter of objections and comments. The project does not give adequate notice of hearing. Staff believes the project was noticed adequately. The next item refers to a letter submitted by Lisa Y. Flores. The staff will respond to this letter separately. The project does not address reasonably feasible alternatives. The roundabout is more feasible than stop signs or stoplights, as that funding for the stop signs or stoplights would come out of the city funding. The current roundabout project does not. There are conflicts and inconsistencies with the circulation element. Staff believes the project is consistent with the general plan. It states the general plan is inadequate. The latest judgment staff has heard identifies the general plan is in fact inadequate. Environmental justice is not met. This project will serve a disadvantaged community in a disadvantaged area. Basically, staff believes environmental justice is met on all accounts. The project fails to address expenditure of scarce public resources. The document clearly identifies the funding sources as not coming from the city. Moving on to the next letter regarding the City of Lindsay, agenda item 5. There is no project timeline or schedule submitted. The document identifies construction that was estimated to begin in June of this year. The project level of service does not justify this project. The level of service is not identified as a purpose or need for this project. The project does not discuss truck route changes. No truck route changes are proposed. Project does not provide support for high-risk accidents. Anytime a pedestrian is on the same plane as a vehicle, staff views that as a high-risk situation, which is kind of a logical determination that staff has made. Anytime you have a vehicle versus the pedestrian, the vehicle is going to win. The project does not discuss cost effectiveness of the stoplight. The stoplight is not eligible for the funding for this project. The project does not discuss the limited level of service change. Again, level of service is not identified as a purpose or need of this project. The project does not discuss fog issues. CEQA does not require analysis of weather conditions, and any fog issues experienced at a roundabout will also be experienced at a stoplight or at a stop sign. It's going to be universal. There's no ADA discussion. ADA will be discussed during the project design proposal. And there's no environmental justice discussion. Environmental justice only requires equal public participation opportunities and equal distribution of projects. Staff believes this project achieves that. Moving on to the next letter. The Plains project will impact circulation. Omni projects an adequate level of service in 2040. Claims project will impact congestion. Same answer as before. Claims the project does not address the needs of the central business district. There will be no impact to the level of service, and therefore no impact to the level of vehicles that go in and out of the central business district will be identical. Claims public outreach is inadequate. Request a town hall. Staff provided a 20-day public comment period, 4 informational meetings, and 1 public hearing. Staff believes this satisfies CEQA and environmental justice. The request for the letter also asked for an example of cutting down from 5 lanes down to 2. This is an intersection where it shows 5 lanes with one of them being a turn pocket, turned into a roundabout successfully that has 2 lanes as requested. Moving on to public hearing documents. Proven safety countermeasures by FHWA. Staff agrees with the information provided. The next document is a fact sheet regarding the performance of modern roundabouts. Staff agrees with the information provided. And the next document regarding safety and roundabouts and mini roundabouts via the FHWA. Staff will pursue the outreach toolbox and educational resources, many of which I believe Bill has already begun to utilize. And finally, the public comments from the last City Council meeting. Lindsay Unified School District supports this project. Staff agrees. The solution has been identified for this intersection since 2006. Staff agrees. Hermosa needs to be reclassified in the general plan. We'll consider this comment during the next circulation element update. They're concerned regarding school-age pedestrians in the Omni-Mean study. Staff recommends a meeting to discuss concerns in greater detail. We'd like the opportunity to be able to sit down and really flesh out these details and come up with solutions where needed. And they express thanks to the city attorney and city manager for their time and consideration. Staff is thankful for the opportunity to address concerns. And moving on to the first public letter received at the last council meeting. Hermosa should be reclassified through a general plan amendment. This suggestion will be considered during the next circulation element update. The existing roundabout does not accommodate truck traffic. The existing roundabout has been utilized by trucks on a daily basis since 2010 with no incidents. The city should restripe Hermosa. This suggestion will be considered in the next circulation element update. Project costs aren't identified. The document clearly identifies an estimated cost of $1.4 million. The next letter received, the school district is in favor of this project. Staff agrees. The school district is working with the engineer to identify on-site solutions. The city and staff will assist as needed. The school district will work with the city to determine the need for intersection control. Staff agrees with this comment. The final letter, traffic expert identified traffic lights as one of the most dangerous solutions, and staff agrees with that. Other traffic experts identified roundabouts as the best solution. Staff agrees again. The inability to fund the roundabout led to successful morning and afternoon intersection control. Staff agrees that's been very successful. The city should construct this roundabout for the safety of the students and parents of Jefferson School. And staff agrees with that as well. With all items considered, staff does recommend approval. And before we move forward, I'd like to entertain any questions from council.
Questions from council? Does that conclude your presentation then?
It does.
Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you very much. This is a continued public hearing. This matter is brought back before the council for further discussion as desired. The comments?
I just have a comment, not necessarily about the roundabout, but I remember back in 2005-06 when the conversation started with the district, because I was working for a migrant at the time, and that's where the biggest Spanish-speaking group came out of. And when the city and the district were working together for a solution and said, you know, the best bet at this time will be the lane closures, a lot of people were very skeptical and upset because it's a change. They didn't want that change, but in the end, we understood that it was the best thing for our children. And we've been doing that, you know, as stated there, the AM and PM closures for lots of years now, and so far it's worked. We still have safety monitors complaining that, you know, there's fast cars passing by or whatnot, but I just want to say that I understand that sometimes change is hard, but we need to do what is in the best interest of our children. And even though we don't like it at the time, like some of the people on the video said, with time and as we learn to properly navigate these roundabouts, we feel much more comfortable about using them. That's my only comment.
Councilman Cortez. Other comments? For me, this is about the safety of children and other pedestrians, and it's also about the safety of you know, in traveling in vehicles for drivers. I made the mistake of driving down North Westwood and needing to cross over to South Westwood Sunday afternoon. School wasn't in or anything, you know, but I sat there quite a while till it was safe both directions to cross over Hermosa Street, and that is really a problem that's going to get worse with those apartments crossing Hermosa or making left turns on either South Westwood or North Westwood is already an issue now. So I've had people say, well, why do we need to do anything? It's only a problem during school hours. It's a big issue for the kids during school hours, but I think it's a problem for drivers right now all the time. So,
just one little comment. So, I don't think any of us have had opportunity to be in the discussions with LUSD. But, you know, there's some people, a little bit of talk in the town about as long as the school is there, the safety of the kids, the traffic is going to be a challenge. Has there been any thoughts or ideas about the potential of moving Jefferson School to a different locale?
I've had no input on that since maybe 2008 or so when we were creating elementary school districts. I worked with the district at that time. And different superintendent,
Right.
there were considerations, but no, not in recent memory at all.
I mean, obviously that would go a long way to solving the school-age pedestrian problem. And so that might be something our friends at LUSD, the board, they want to begin to research about the possibility of looking at a different location for that school. Roosevelt has a great big backyard. They could add a few buildings there. That's all.
Any comments on that? So we are considering the environmental document tonight. There will be a site plan review on the details of the roundabout itself, but environmentally, any comments or further questions on this? for me, it seems clear that environmentally, it's all positive. As you said, there really are no cons environmentally. It increases safety. It helps with access and circulation. It's going to look better than all that asphalt out there. And it's good for the air quality. That's why it's being funded. If there's no other comments or questions, what action would the council like to take?
Move for approval of resolution number 1801, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lindsay approving a mitigated negative declaration for planning project number 1709, a request by the City of Lindsay for public right-of-way located at the intersection of Hermosa Street and Westwood Avenue.
Been moved by Councilman Velasquez. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Councilman Cortez. Clerk, please take roll.
Councilmember Velasquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Cortez.
Aye.
Councilmember Watson.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salinas.
Aye.
Mayor Kimball.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move on to item 6, Resolution 1806, authorizing the mayor to sign 2018 contract year unreleased restoration flow sales agreement number 18 WC 25147, Bryant Division, Central Valley Project. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor Kimball and Council. Until channel improvements and facility construction are completed along the San Joaquin River, the San Joaquin River Restoration Program is limited in its ability to release restoration flows. The program's allocation of water can exceed the conveyance capacity of the river and associated channel, resulting in unreleased restoration flows. URFs may also be generated because of the facility maintenance or channel improvement construction. As channel capacity is improved over time, annual generation of URFs will be reduced and eventually be zero. URFs are generated from Bryant Dam, Milliken Lake. This contract allows use, sale, transfer, banking, or exchange of available URF water. For the water year 2018, the city will have an estimated 313 acre-feet of water available in Tier 1 release. The cost of the Tier 1 release is $20 per acre foot. The agreement also includes the potential for Tier 2 releases. However, the cost for Tier 2 water is exceeding $331 per acre foot. Staff is recommending council approval of Resolution 1806 at this time. And with that, we have to answer the questions.
You can tell us the same thing in English.
The San Joaquin River, or users of Bryant Dam and Milliken Lake lost a settlement, or lost a lawsuit with the San Joaquin River folks. San Joaquin River is taking water down its channel. What it doesn't take stays in Milliken Lake and becomes available to contractors on the front. That would be us. They calculate by percentage of contract how much is available to each of the contractors. Our percentage is 331 acre feet. It changes all the time because of weather conditions, because of the ability to take the water down to San Joaquin, whether they're working on that or not, whether they release fish and the channel and maintenance that goes on there. The Tier 1 water at $20 an acre foot is a deal. At this time, we should take advantage of it. At $331 an acre foot for Tier 2 water, that's really expensive. But if no water is available when Tier 2 is available, it might be good for us to take it. Whether we use it at 331, bank it, sell it, that's to be seen. If Tier 2 water is declared available, it may not be declared available.
So we bank it and sell it for more than 300? Is that what you guess?
We could.
So it's not looking like a good year, but they haven't given us a percentage yet.
Not officially. Unofficially, it's not looking good.
How many acre feet does the city use a year for our domestic?
combined surface and groundwater is about 22 to 2,400 acre feet a year. But that's combined.
Right. So how much surface, well, that changes from year to year, right, depending on our allotment.
Correct.
Any other questions? If not, what action would the council like to take? Moved by Salinas, seconded by Watson. Would the clerk please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Salinas.
Aye.
Councilmember Watson.
Aye.
Councilmember Velasquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Cortez.
Aye.
Mayor Kimball.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next item is resolution 1808, conveyance of property to Lindsay Unified School District. Fine.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this resolution is a request to convey or transfer ownership of some property from the city of Lindsay to the school district. Highlighted in orange is what was originally conveyed, I believe in 2010, if I recall correctly. That was to allow them to do parking lot improvements and maintain that. There was a joint use agreement that was not fully completed. And so at this time, as they're requesting this additional space that's proposed in red, we would also take this opportunity to solidify that joint use agreement to include the parking lot and the green space you see there on the screen. This area is on the top of the hill there at Harvard Park. So the school district would make several improvements there that we would have use of as well. So we recommend approval so that it's less maintenance on the city's end, and with that joint use in place, we'll be able to use that parking lot and that green space.
So the school district will be responsible for all maintenance of the proposed.
Of the areas conveyed.
Questions? Is this already kind of fenced off, this area?
It is currently fenced off already, yes.
So what's the building up on top of the city?
I believe those are additional classroom buildings that they have placed on there. And I want to say that building to the south is school.
I wondered if it included any restrooms. No?
There is a restroom there. The actual original configuration is a little larger than is being shown there. They had originally asked for that. They had funding to fix a parking lot, but they had to own the parking lot to fix it. They were using it at the time council determined, okay, let's dedicate it to them, but with the idea we'd have joint use if we wanted to have activities in Harvard Park. Once that process began and they realized that we were agreeable to it, they asked if they couldn't have the area immediately to the west. So extend that rectangle to the west to where the fence line is. Could they have that for the development of classrooms, the expansion? Council agreed to that. Subsequent to that, they created that structure that you see near the P and proposed because they thought they had all of that land, and they did not. They put it on city property. That's when the dialogue started about, is it possible to have the rest of this conveyed to us? And again, they're up there, they're going to maintain it. So long as we have access to the parking lot, it's not a big deal. There is a restroom structure up there that's not being used. I don't believe it's ADA accessible is the issue. They have not taken the steps to improve it, and the city has not taken the steps to improve it. Perhaps that's something that the school district would entertain in the future, or perhaps that's something as Harvard Park develops that we could sort something out with them once funding becomes available. I don't think they would be in disagreement to it so long as it was clear who was responsible for maintaining.
That's something that maybe we should write as an addendum to this proposal, that within a certain period of time, the district brings that restroom up to ADA approval, just so we're clear.
you're the bosses, but that can be easily in excess of $100,000 to do that. I don't know if that building is convertible or not, if it's got to come down. I don't know.
Where would that building be? Because I know like that red structure that we see there, that's a playground. The other ones are preschool classrooms.
Can you point it out there,
This
Mike?
is, this is the playground?
No. That's the classroom. That's a pre-K classroom that's south of there.
Oh, is it like a two-story building?
I don't think it's two-story, but it is the classroom.
No, the bathroom we have out there.
I thought there was a bathroom.
The bathroom that got converted to storage, but as I say, I don't know if it's converted to an ADA accessible bathroom or not.
Bathroom/storage building is about right there.
So right now, currently, the school district is just using it just because you guys are being nice, we're being nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we are being. Why didn't they just square it off? Why did they put that angle?
It's elevated there, so it's on grade in the parking lot. Once you go south and west of that red line, it starts falling off. There's a pretty significant slope to it because it's a ponding basin that we've used historically for sports purposes.
Are they looking to expand the parking
I don't know, have we been cutting that grass up there, Mike, or have they been doing it?
We have been maintaining the lower portion, so it'll be south of the fence. They've been maintaining north of the fence.
So they're already taking care of it. They'd like to own it and have the ability to expand. I think the restroom council, yeah, I can see it. It's on the south, it's like just left of the P, yeah, where that cursor's being moved. It's just left of that even. But it's a small structure that's there on a diagonal. And I think the problem is it's really, really small, and they would likely have to tear that thing down to do a restroom up there.
Let's see.
Yeah, because we just did that. No, I mean, let the district do it in a certain period of time, because at some point, you know, we may use that. I mean, initially, it was developed for use for soccer field, softball, you know.
I think you're going to be, I don't see it serving the school district benefit to create the restroom, and they've always got to have that nexus there. I would also add that they're dedicating land to us where the Jefferson school site is for free as well.
Oh,
So
they are?
They are. There's no strings attached to that. And they've been maintaining this. And so if we put strings on there and they say, fine, you guys maintain it, I mean, they could go any number of directions.
Right.
I think it's something that we can maintain a relationship with them. When we have more money, we can do something out there. But if I'm the school district, I'm not seeing the benefit in having a remote restroom. They're going to want it more associated with their campus to use during school hours.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty close to that classroom, that's why I was wondering, since they just built that one in Jefferson between some classrooms. Okay, just a thought.
If they want to put classrooms out there, or what they want to do.
I don't think it's big enough to put classrooms out there.
It would be like you have now, if you were to do it. But I don't know if there's even a need. It's just about cleaning up things. Probably we should have done this when we did the parking lot, but they asked for the parking lot, that's what they got, and they requested the extension to the west.
Is the fence theirs to worry about, or ours?
Join. You know, and they're going to maintain it because they have a need to ensure those kids are safe, that they're not getting poked with wires. I suspect that they would probably stay on top of that.
Any other questions or comments? If not, what action would council like to take? Moved by Salinas, second by Cortez. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Salinas. Councilmember Cortez.
Aye.
Councilmember Velasquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Watson.
Aye.
And Mayor Kimball.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is Resolution 1809, conveyance of property to Lindsay Hospital District.
Like Santa Claus tonight.
Valentine's Day tonight.
That's right. Close to Valentine's Day, so the spirit of sharing.
Yeah.
So this request is a conveyance between the city of Lindsay and the Lindsay Hospital District. They're requesting this triangle of land so they can expand their parking lot improvements and provide some better facilities there on site. Currently, there is an easement that will need to be maintained. However, that easement is stipulated in the documents so that we still control access to that easement. But other than that, the city really had no other joint use agreements or anything to put in place there. It's going to serve them more than it will serve us. Currently, it's vacant, and the staff recommended approval of that. And again, as Bill mentioned, with the school district, the hospital district has experienced funding in the past as well.
Thank you, Brian. When you look at that slide, there's a lot of parking spaces on that slide.
No, big fellow.
Have parking. Any questions? Comments?
So they're planning on given that property, that other green area that's not in red, is it all going to be parking? We're
Yes,
just trying
they
to get
want
access to the whole thing, right?
Yes, so the parking lot is at the southern extent right now. We have that driveway. They intend to extend it as far to the north as they can. There's a slope there that they're going to have to deal with, and it may not go to the full extent of that red horizontal line. It depends on how the slope control is, and they don't create any issues with our ponding basin. But they may use it all.
What action would council like to take?
I move for approval of resolution number 1809, the resolution of the city council of the city of Lindsay authorizing the conveyance of approximately 0.14 acres of real property known as APN 201-180-008 and adjacent to Sequoia Pond to Lindsay Hospital District.
Moved by Velasquez, seconded by Watson. Would the clerk please take roll?
Councilmember Velasquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Watson.
Aye.
Councilmember Cortez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Salinas.
Aye.
Mayor Kimball.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Our next item is a minute order related to San Joaquin River Frank Kern Canal Watershed Sanitary Survey update.
Thank you, Mayor Kimball. We are required as a public water system using surface water to look at the implications of what adds to the surface water supply, whether it's through the San Joaquin River, and that's why it's mentioned in the report, as we do take URF water, or impacts that surface water get down Frank Kern Canal. The original study was completed in 1998, and every 5 years the study has to be updated. And that's what this is requesting, that the memorandum of understanding, the MOU, is going to each of the 11 surface water supply users off of the Frank Kern Canal predominantly, and that they pay their prorated share and also an identified flat rate for the watershed sanitary survey update. Keller and Wegley's already been contracted to provide the updates. They provide the last 3 updates. And Lindsay Stratford Irrigation District will serve as the lead agency, and then receipt of funds and payments of bills as they come due. One of the problems that is identified in the staff report is that our estimated cost for this update is $30,939. This was not identified in our existing budget. With that in mind, we would have to come back and present a budget amendment. It could be as a sole item, or it could be as other items identified at that budget amendment time. And so that is a consideration for a future amendment process. City attorneys reviewed the MOU, did not find any undue liabilities as far as the document was concerned. We are obligated to participate as we do take surface water off the canal, for surface water supply off the Porterville Canal. And staff is recommending that council approve the MOU for the preparation of San Joaquin River, Franklin Canal Watershed Sanitary Survey update. In fact, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mike, on page 8 of that document, it says 10,000 with another 1,000, so 11,000 for City of Lindsay, but you said 30?
Right. If you go to, and I think it's near the end of the MOU, there are two components to the update. And I'm going to share those components with you.
Yeah, I said page 10.
Yeah, it's nearly, it's an attachment actually. That's going to be page 10, identifying what the San Joaquin River watershed update is and the Franklin Canal watershed update would be. So you see two costs associated there, 10,000 for San Joaquin River and 17,000 for the Franklin Canal. So the combined total 28,000 with 10% takes it to 30,900.
So I was just looking at the San Joaquin River
Right.
portion.
Because again, we look at the implications of the URF, even though we don't take directly off of the San Joaquin River, it still has to be identified in there.
And this is just for an analysis, correct?
Well, this is the original watershed sanitary survey was done in 1998, and so this looks at conditions that have changed from the last update, which was 2010. And so it took a couple of years to complete that study. And so now it's time to update.
And how is the fee assessed?
There's a flat rate fee, and it's identified in the MOU. There's a flat rate fee per user, and then there is a prorated fee per user based on the contract amount. So our prorated fee is relatively low because we're a 2,500 acre foot contractor compared to the Lindsay Stratford Irrigation District. And so they combine those two numbers, and that's how they assess each of the users.
Because I mean, the city of Fresno is only 55,000.
Yeah,
we're at 30.
Only 55,000.
Yeah.
But from a contractor perspective, I think City of Fresno's contract is
Stratford has to be around.
Yeah, Stratford, yeah.
Okay.
So apparently we can't say no. We just have to figure out how to pay for it.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Council members, what action would you like to take? We entertain a motion. Doesn't mean order. We need a motion to approve staff recommendation. Moved by Flame, seconded by Cortez. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item 10, also a minute order, city engineer transfer agreement. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor Kimball. Current contract, city engineering firm of Witten and Associates has been acquired by QK Incorporated by SIA. QK is their new name that they are going by these days. Years ago, they were known as Quad. Staff's been working with City Attorney Mario Zamora and the staff of Winton and Associates and QK to develop an appropriate assignment agreement of our current city engineering contract. The current agreement allows this assignment to be presented to council for consideration. This assignment agreement has a maximum duration of 6 months. If approved by council, QK Incorporated will be assigning appropriately licensed engineering and surveying staff to assume the role of contract city engineer. During the period of this assignment, the fee structure identified in the existing contract will be honored by QK Incorporated. Staff will pursue releasing a new proposal for contract city engineering services as well. And with that, I'd be happy to answer questions.
Any questions for Mike?
So was Witten's and Associates, their fees compared to QK?
That's probably a good assessment.
Entertain a motion to approve city engineer assignment agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Velazquez, second by Watson. All in favor? Aye. Carries 5-0, and then like on again, request qualifications for civil engineering services.
Thank you, Mayor Kimball. So, Whitten and Associates of Porterville has filled the duties of the city engineer since 2013 with the passing of Mr. Whitten and the acquisition of Whitten and Associates by QK Incorporated of Visalia. The need to release a new request for qualifications for professional civil engineering services has risen. Staff has presented a proposed assignment agreement for the continuation of city engineering services with QK Incorporated. Council has now approved that, and we have 6 months to find a new city engineer. The RFQ identifies or outlines the proposal process of the submittal, evaluation of the submittals, and selection process. It's hopeful that this selection process will be completed with a May 2018 recommendation of award to council. The RFQ identifies an initial duration of a 2-year agreement with the opportunity of two-year extensions based on satisfactory performance and with review and recommendation by city manager and city services director. And with that, we have.
Is this what we did about 6 months, a year ago?
No. What we did, and in fact it was nearly 18 months ago, was we developed a list of consultants for task orders. So we have 6 consultants on retainer that as a project comes up, depending on what the project is, we can select a consultant, one of those 6. So this is specifically for the contract city engineer services.
18 months ago.
I think it expired.
Time flies.
So we were going to do this, and I mean, the first thing we just did is we transferred the agreement to finish the contract.
The existing
We were
Whitten
going to come up
contract.
to do this anyways, or?
Well, the existing Whitten contract was good until April 2019. We were going to have to do this next year. So it's been moved forward about because of that. And transfer for actually the sale from Whitten Associates to QK.
But we extended the agreement, didn't we? I mean, we changed the agreement over to them is what we just did. Why isn't that go to 219?
The assignment is only good for 6 months.
Oh.
Yeah, that they would be doing, QK would be doing their work at a discounted rate over an extra year.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any questions, comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve sending out an RFQ for civil engineering services.
Second.
Moved by Watson, seconded by Cortez. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, item 12 is resolution 1807, authorized utility payment location contract between the city of Lindsay and Joyeria El Dorado. Brad?
All right, thank you, Mayor Nimble. So this is a non-cost agreement that we're bringing to council. It's more just so you have background on what's going on and to get your input on it. A few council meetings ago, we mentioned to council that we were looking for different ways to open up or to contract with businesses in town to do an authorized utility payment location. We did an RFP. We had one response to that. That was from Javier there at the jewelry store. He's come in, met with us 3 times. We've come to an agreement on a contract that is in your packets for you to review tonight. How this will work is we'll put a notice here that people can pay their water utility there and their refuse utility there at this location His hours are open later than ours, he's open on the weekend, and he will handle the processing of all of those. We have ways to make sure the money that's coming in is getting to us and making sure people are having their utilities checked off the right way. And as part of the process of him handling that for us, he's able to charge a convenience fee, which is what he does already with the gas bills and electric bills that he takes. And so all of his compensation will come from that charge on the convenience fee. We're putting a max on it, $2. And so he can't charge more than that. And with that, we expect to have a decrease in demand at our front desk. We've had a number of people ask for it. He said he has lots of people ask him for it as well. If for some reason he were to want to terminate the contract, or the city would want to, he's required to post in his window for 90 days that he no longer accepts payments from the city. And so all of those things are in the agreement. The body agreement came from the one that Steve Shafter uses, and so it's used after their template, and they've been doing this for years there. And so we expect it's going to just give the residents more opportunities to kind of ease up the different things they need to do during the day, and doesn't restrict them to just the hours we're open.
So is this the first time that we've done something like that?
It is. Been working on it for a while, and Brett was finally able to take it over the goal line for us.
I remember when I was a little kid, I would go pay it at the bicycle shop.
Western Auto, right? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, my dad was saying, go pay. Hey, I'm here to pay this. Whatever it is.
But it wasn't the water bill. It was like electric and gas.
I remember being at the city council and going over there and paying my water bill.
I was about 5.
He just takes cash or check.
He'll do cash or check. And they do, I don't recall if they do credit, no, I don't think they do credit cards there because of what he's charged by the credit card companies, and so we just do cash or check.
Debit, no debit card.
He's thinking about moving to the city limits, not city limits, but
Building, council building.
Will we just have to change it later, or if that ends up happening, or?
So this requires it to only be at that location, and so it would need to be amended to include that one.
We thought the Jessup building, right?
Right.
So we put that one. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Not, what action would the council like to take on resolution 1807?
For approval.
Second. Moved by Salinas, seconded by Cortez. Would the clerk please take roll?
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Salinas.
Aye.
Councilmember Cortez.
Aye.
Councilmember Velasquez.
Aye.
Councilmember Watson.
Aye.
Mayor Kimball.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next item, there are any future agenda items council members would like to request?
I'd just like to ask the candidates again, we need to get it on now and move forward again. Now we're just talking.
Going on, so I think they're taking it, the tax measure up to the council. Okay.
Anything else? Not, we have no executive session tonight, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So, well, thanks Maria for this.
Yes.